Picture this: hip-hop fans scrolling through their feeds. Late last night nearly dropped their phones when a bombshell clip surfaced from none other than Suge, the former Death Row Records kingpin, speaking straight from prison. With that raw, menacing tone that has always sent chills down the industry, Suge didn't just throw shade, he threw the entire tree. The target? Drake. Yes, the Six God himself. And what Suge claimed has left fans in utter disbelief. According to Suge, the iconic Tupac chain Drake has been flexing in videos and concerts isn't what everyone thought it was. In fact, Suge said it loud and clear: that chain is fake. He got played. Now you can imagine the chaos. Social media erupted instantly. Some fans were gasping in shock, others were roasting Drake with memes, and diehard stans were rushing to defend him. But here's the twist: Suge didn't just stop at calling out the chain. He hinted at betrayal, shady deals, and a whole circle of insiders who apparently knew the truth all along. Could this be the ultimate embarrassment for Drake, or is Suge just stirring the pot from behind bars? Either way, this drama has the entire hip-hop world on edge. When Suge Knight's voice boomed across that grainy prison call recording, it was like the entire hip-hop universe froze for a moment. Everyone leaned in, trying to catch every word. As Suge, known for speaking with raw honesty and dangerous confidence, set his sights on Drake. He wasn't laughing, he wasn't joking. His tone was sharp and cutting. That chain he's wearing, the one he claims was Tupac's. It ain't real, he got played. Those words echoed like a gunshot in the silence of the feed, and fans immediately went into a frenzy. Drake, who has built his image on success, power, and untouchable energy, suddenly found himself at the center of humiliation. Imagine the scene. Backstage at a concert, Drake smiling, taking pictures, proudly showing off the glimmering chain, while fans cheered and believed they were looking at a piece of rap history. Now, thanks to Suge's claims, that same chain was being mocked, labeled as nothing more than a cheap knockoff. The reaction was immediate and brutal. On Twitter, hashtags like #FakeChain and #DrakePlayed started trending. Memes flooded timelines with side-by-side pictures of Drake and jokes about him shopping at the local mall jewelry store. One fan wrote, "Not Drake thinking he's wearing Tupac's chain when it's giving flea market vibes." Another added, "Suge Knight never lies. If he says it's fake, then Drake's been duped." Emotions ran high, especially among those who had admired Drake for carrying what they believed was a sacred piece of hip-hop history. But behind the scenes, there was more than just internet jokes. White insiders whispered that this wasn't just about a fake chain. Suge was hinting at a betrayal, and suddenly eyes turned toward Drake's inner circle. How could someone of his status, with his wealth and connections, end up flaunting something that wasn't authentic? Was it possible someone close to him set him up? Sources claimed that Drake purchased the chain quietly through a private dealer, who swore it once belonged to Tupac Shakur himself. The story was too good to resist. A legendary piece once worn by a fallen icon, passed down to the most dominant rapper of today. It was supposed to be a moment of symbolic passing of the torch, and Drake, always careful with his image, leaned into it. But now, with Suge's voice tearing down the illusion, it looked like Drake had been manipulated. Inside Drake's camp, tension boiled. One insider described the atmosphere as chaotic, everyone pointing fingers, people crying, people screaming. Apparently, some of Drake's closest friends warned him months ago that the chain's history didn't check out, but he ignored the doubts. Convinced that owning Tupac's chain would cement his place in rap's legacy. The betrayal narrative only grew stronger when Suge hinted that people Drake trusted were involved in the setup. Somebody close to him knew. They knew it wasn't real, but they let him walk around proud, thinking he had Pac's chain. That ain't no accident. That's betrayal. Those chilling words hit harder than anything else. Fans started speculating, dropping names of Drake's longtime associates and business partners, asking who could have allowed this embarrassment to unfold. The drama escalated further when videos from Drake's past concerts resurfaced, where he proudly held up the chain mid-performance, telling the crowd, "This is real history right here. This is Pac." Those videos, which once brought admiration, now sparked ridicule. The audience that once cheered now replayed the clips with sarcastic captions like, "This aged like milk," and "History from Wish.com." To make matters worse, other rappers began to chime in. 50 Cent, known for stirring the pot, posted a cryptic laughing emoji under one of the viral memes. Cardi B allegedly told her fans during an Instagram live, "If Suge Knight says that chain is fake, baby, it's fake. Ain't nobody playing with him." Even Snoop Dogg, who'd remained quiet at first, finally posted a video shaking his head, saying, "This is why you gotta know your history before you claim it." Snoop didn't mention Drake by name, but fans knew exactly who he was talking about. The emotional toll on Drake was said to be immense. Insiders revealed he locked himself in his Toronto mansion for days, refusing to answer calls. "He feels humiliated," one source explained. "He thought he was honoring Pac, but now he looks like a clown." Drake is sensitive, and this cut deep, but the story didn't end there. Just when people thought it was a simple case of Drake getting duped, another twist emerged. Whispers spread that the fake chain scandal was tied to a bigger plot involving old beefs, rival record labels, and secret deals. Suge Knight's words were being dissected for hidden meanings. When he said he got played, did he mean just by a shady jeweler, or was he pointing at something bigger, like the industry itself setting Drake up for a fall? One anonymous producer claimed this was orchestrated. Drake's been dominating for too long. People wanted to see him embarrassed. What better way than making him look like a fool in front of the entire world with a fake Pac chain? Fans began to wonder who would benefit from Drake's downfall. Was it rivals who felt overshadowed? Old enemies from past beefs? Or perhaps even someone within his own camp, tired of being in his shadow? The betrayal angle became the hottest topic, with everyone speculating about motives and suspects. Amidst the chaos, Drake's mother reportedly confronted him, demanding to know why he didn't verify the authenticity before going public with it. "You built your career on trust and image," she allegedly told him, tears in her eyes. "How could you let them play you like this?" This emotional confrontation left Drake devastated, torn between anger at those who sold him the chain and shame for not protecting his legacy. As days passed, pressure mounted on Drake to respond. Fans wanted answers, haters wanted confirmation, and the industry was watching every move. But instead of issuing a statement, Drake stayed silent, only fueling the fire. Silence, however, was seen as weakness. "He doesn't know what to say because he knows it's true," one critic argued. If the chain was real, he would have shut Suge down instantly. His silence proves everything. In the meantime, the jeweler who allegedly sold the chain to Drake was nowhere to be found. Sources said he vanished from social media and refused to answer calls, adding even more suspicion. Was he hiding because he was guilty, or was someone pressuring him to stay quiet? The narrative was no longer just about a fake chain. It had become a story of betrayal, humiliation, and power games. The once untouchable Drake now looked vulnerable, and the entire world was watching to see what his next move would be. And just when the drama seemed to reach its peak, another shocking detail surfaced, one that would drag even more big names into the scandal and leave fans questioning everything they thought they knew. The shocking detail that surfaced sent shockwaves through the industry once again. It wasn't just about Drake's fake chain anymore. Leaked documents began circulating online. allegedly showing that the chain Drake flaunted had actually been linked to a replica collection created years ago for a Hollywood film. Fansu dug deep discovered that jewelers were commissioned to make several copies of Tupac's most iconic pieces for a movie set. And somehow, one of those props found its way into the hands of a private dealer. That meant the chain Drake had been proudly parading wasn't just fake, it was a movie prop, a costume piece. The humiliation only intensified. Fans joked online, "Not Drake rocking the chain from the costume department." Another viral tweet read, "So Drake basically got his history lesson from a movie set." But here's where things got even darker. Insiders whispered that Suge Knight knew about this for years, and he had been waiting for the right moment to expose it. Why now? Some speculated it was Suge's way of sending a message from behind bars, a reminder that even locked away, he still held power to shake the entire hip-hop world. Others believed it was deeper, that Suge had unfinished business with people in Drake's circle. Rumors tied the fake chain scandal back to an alleged falling out between Suge and a certain record executive who had been doing business with Drake. Suge's words, "He got played," suddenly sounded like more than just shade. They sounded like an accusation. as if someone purposely planted that chain on Drake to set him up for public humiliation. Meanwhile, Drake's silence became unbearable for his fans. Tabloids reported that his team begged him to release a statement, but Drake refused, pacing inside his mansion, furious and heartbroken. He feels like he can't trust anyone, one source revealed. He doesn't know if the betrayal came from the jeweler, a friend, or someone higher up. He feels completely isolated. The betrayal narrative took another twist when an alleged close friend of Drake came forward anonymously, claiming that Drake was warned about the chain before he ever wore it in public. He knew there were doubts, the friend insisted, but he wanted the story. He wanted people to see him as the keeper of Pac's legacy. He ignored the warnings. This revelation divided fans. Some felt sympathy, believing Drake had been manipulated. Others mocked him for ignoring red flags. One fan wrote, "That's on him. He wanted the clout of Pac's chain without doing the research. That's not betrayal, that's ego." Another responded, "Nah, if people he trusted let him embarrass himself, that's betrayal. He deserves better from his circle." To add more fire, other rappers began openly mocking the situation. The Game posted an Instagram story with a laughing filter, holding up one of his old chains, saying, "Yo, I could tell you this was Pac's." 2. Who's buying? Meek Mill, never one to miss a chance to jab at Drake, tweeted, "That chain had more acting experience than Drake's whole career." But perhaps the most shocking reaction came from Tupac's family. Tupac's stepbrother, Moprine Shocker, allegedly spoke out, saying, "That chain was never Pac's. I don't know what Drake thought he bought, but it wasn't from us. If he was really trying to honor Pac, he should have come to the family." First, this statement added a whole new layer of tension. Fans suddenly started accusing Drake of not only wearing a fake, but also disrespecting Pac's legacy by bypassing the family altogether. Emotions ran high when videos surfaced of fans burning replicas of Drake's chain in protest, chanting, "This ain't Pac." What had started as a scandal about authenticity turned into a cultural debate about respect, legacy, and who gets to carry the torch of hip-hop history. Drake's camp scrambled to contain the damage, but things spiraled out of control when a former associate leaked screenshots of text messages, allegedly showing that Drake knew about the possibility of the chain being fake, but decided to gamble anyway. In one of the texts, Drake allegedly wrote, "Even if it ain't real, people will believe it is. It's about the image." Whether or not the texts were authentic, they spread like wildfire, convincing fans that Drake had been complicit in his own downfall. Suge Knight's words now carried even more weight. "He got played," he said, and fans twisted it to mean that Drake had played himself. But Suge's prison call didn't stop there. In the full recording, Suge hinted at even bigger names being involved. "That chain ain't the only thing fake in this game. Y'all better watch who you trusting, because the same ones smiling in your face, they're the ones selling you lies." Suddenly, everyone wanted to know, was Suge talking about the jewelry, or was he hinting at fake friendships, fake deals, and fake loyalty within Drake's empire? Conspiracy theories ran rampant. Fans began suggesting that Drake's humiliation was orchestrated by rivals who wanted to tear him down. Perhaps even insiders working with Suge to expose him. As pressure mounted, Drake's family reportedly staged an intervention. His mother, close friends, even his son's mother, all gathered at his mansion to confront him. The atmosphere was tense, tears flowing, voices raised. One witness described the scene. His mom begged him to step out and address it before it destroys his image. But Drake just kept saying, "They want me to fall. They want me to look weak." He's paranoid. He feels like everyone is against him. In the middle of this emotional storm, something unbelievable happened. A rival jeweler came forward on live television, holding what he claimed was the real Tupac chain. He said Drake had been sold a replica, and the real piece had been sitting in his vault for years. "I tried to warn him, but he didn't want to hear it," the jeweler claimed. Fans erupted once more, demanding Drake explain why he ignored offers to verify the authenticity. The jeweler's revelation painted Drake as careless, someone too eager for the glory to do his homework. Worse, it gave his enemies more ammunition. Memes now read, "Drake had the chance to get the real chain but chose the knockoff. Legendary fail." Yet amidst the laughter, others saw something more sinister. Was it possible the so-called real chain was being dangled now just to humiliate Drake further? Was the jeweler genuinely holding history, or was he capitalizing on Drake's scandal to boost his own reputation? The lines between truth and manipulation blurred, and fans were left spinning, not knowing what to believe. All they knew was this: Drake's silence made things worse by the day, and the hip-hop community was more divided than ever. Some mocked him endlessly, some defended him passionately, and some whispered that this was only the beginning of a much bigger takedown. And then, just when people thought the scandal had reached its breaking point, Suge Knight dropped another cryptic statement from prison, one that named names, exposed connections, and threatened to blow the lid off a much deeper conspiracy involving Drake's so-called friends and industry insiders. When Suge Knight's second statement leaked from prison, the internet nearly broke. This wasn't just vague shade anymore. This time he called names. In that low, rumbling voice he declared, "Y'all think Drake's circle clean? Nah. The same people he parties with, the same people he pays, they're the ones who put that fake chain around his neck. He got played by his own." Those words hit harder than anyone expected. Fans immediately began dissecting the audio, trying to catch every syllable. Suge allegedly mentioned a jeweler tied to one of Drake's longtime business associates, and then dropped a bomb, saying that someone from Drake's management team had been in on the scam. He didn't just get lied to, Suge said. He got betrayed by his family. Suddenly, this wasn't just about a fake chain anymore. This was about trust, betrayal, the type of drama that could tear apart one of the most successful empires. In music, speculation ran wild. People started pointing fingers at Oliver, at Future the Prince, at longtime OVO insiders who had been with Drake since the beginning. Was it possible that someone within his camp wanted to embarrass him publicly, to humble him, or even to push him out of his own spotlight? The idea of betrayal lit up social media. Fans argued all night in heated threads. One comment that went viral read, "Betrayal always hurts more than hate." Drake could have handled Suge coming for him, but knowing someone close set him up? That's devastating. Another fan added, "This ain't about jewelry anymore, this is about loyalty." The tension spilled into Drake's inner circle. Insiders reported screening matches inside the OVO mansion. Voices were raised, people stormed out. One source said, Drake accused one of his managers of knowing the chain was fake. They denied it, but he didn't believe them. He slammed his fist on the table, screaming, "You let me go out there looking like a fool." The emotional stakes couldn't have been higher. Here was Drake, a man who built his empire on loyalty, questioning the very foundation of the family he created. Fans who once envied his circle of friends now wondered if that circle was nothing more than snakes in expensive clothes. To make matters worse, rappers who had beef with Drake saw this as an opening. Pusha T, who famously exposed Drake's secret child years earlier, tweeted a simple message: "Once a liar, always a liar." He didn't mention Drake by name, but everyone knew who the target was. Kanye West, who had remained relatively quiet, reposted a meme of a chain breaking in half with no caption. Fans interpreted it as a direct jab. Drake's fans rushed to defend him, saying he was being unfairly targeted, but even they admitted the betrayal angle was haunting. "I don't care if the chain was fake," one fan wrote. "What hurts is that someone close to him let it happen." That's the real story here. Meanwhile, Suge Knight wasn't done. In another phone call, he dropped an even more chilling line. If Pac was alive, he'd tell you the same thing I'm telling you. Now, Drake's surrounded by fakes. The words cut through the noise, leaving even Drake's defenders rattled. As the scandal deepened, the media latched onto every detail. Paparazzi followed Drake's friends, hoping to catch signs of tension. One viral video showed Drake leaving a restaurant in Toronto, looking visibly angry, shoving away cameras and refusing to answer questions. Tabloids described him as paranoid, distant, and broken. But the biggest twist came when a mysterious leaked audio surfaced online. In the recording, an OVO insider could allegedly be heard laughing about the chain before Drake wore it. Publicly, the voice said, "He really thinks it's Pac's chain? That's crazy. Let him flex. The world gonna eat this up." The clip spread like wildfire. If authentic, it confirmed Suge's claims someone in Drake's own camp had set him up to be humiliated. The betrayal narrative became undeniable. Fans reacted with fury. "How dare they laugh at him behind his back?" one fan tweeted. Drake gave these people everything and they stabbed him in the heart. The emotional fallout was brutal. Sources claimed Drake cried during a late-night conversation with his mother, confessing, "I don't know who to trust anymore." Friends close to the family said his mother begged him to cut ties with everyone until the truth came out. "You've been carrying snakes, Aubrey," she allegedly told him. Fans were equally heartbroken. Many said they couldn't even make jokes anymore. "This isn't funny now," one supporter wrote. "This is a man breaking down because the people he trusted most betrayed him. Fame is a curse." Yet in the middle of this emotional chaos, the plot twisted again. New whispers suggested that the betrayal might not have been about money or ego at all, but something far more sinister, an industry plot to weaken Drake's image at the height of his power. One anonymous executive claimed, "The fake chain wasn't random. This was calculated. They wanted to make him look like a fool, to remind him he's not untouchable. This is bigger than his circle. This goes higher." Theories exploded. Some fans believed rival record labels orchestrated the scandal, planting the fake chain through someone in Drake's camp. Others believed older rap legends, jealous of Drake's dominance, had conspired to embarrass him. A few even whispered that Suge himself had orchestrated the entire scheme from prison as revenge for Drake, aligning with West Coast figures who had once clashed with death. The tension reached its boiling point when Drake finally broke his silence, but not in the way fans expected. Instead of a statement, he posted a cryptic Instagram story. It was a black screen with the words, "Snakes don't bite me anymore, I see them coming." Fans lost their minds. Was he confirming the betrayal? Was he calling out his inner circle? Or was he simply trying to sound strong in the middle of humiliation? The post only deepened the mystery. Commentators on YouTube went wild with analysis. Some argued Drake was ready to clean house in OVO, firing longtime friends who betrayed him. Others believed the post was aimed directly at Suge Knight, a warning that Drake wouldn't be played again, but Suge Knight wasn't intimidated. In yet another call, he responded to Drake's cryptic message. "Boy, you can post whatever you want, but until you look me in the eye and admit the truth, you're still a puppet." Fans gasped. Suge's taunt felt like the final word, but little did they know another shocking twist was about to unfold. A twist that would drag even more powerful figures into the scandal and leave Drake facing the biggest decision of his career. The shocking twist came when industry insiders leaked that the fake chain scandal had tangled far more powerful names than anyone could have imagined. According to reports, the dealer who sold Drake the replica wasn't acting alone. Documents tied the sale back to a network of high-profile jewelers, some of whom were linked to big record executives with grudges against Drake. Suddenly, this wasn't just betrayal from within. This was a coordinated takedown. Suge Knight's cryptic words about fakes in the industry began to make chilling sense. In one leaked audio, Suge allegedly mentioned, "He ain't the first one they set up. They've been doing this to rappers for years. They make you believe you got something real, but behind the scenes, they laughing at you. It's a power game." The revelation shook fans to the core. The idea that Drake, one of the most powerful figures in music, could be targeted so strategically made the scandal feel less like a humiliation and more like a full-blown conspiracy. Fans debated endlessly. One side argued that Drake had simply been careless and greedy for clout. The other side insisted he was a victim of industry politics designed to tear him down. As the story unfolded, whispers of involvement from rival moguls spread. Jay-Z's name was thrown around, with conspiracy theorists claiming he wanted to protect Tupac's legacy from Drake's hands. Diddy's name surfaced too, as old feuds and shadowy deals resurfaced in fan theories. Even Snoop Dogg, who had criticized Drake earlier, was suddenly accused of knowing about the chain's true origins and staying silent to watch Drake crash publicly. The internet turned into a battlefield. Fans split into factions, arguing over who was behind the plot. Hashtags like #WhoPlayedDrake and #industry setup started trending. Some videos on YouTube broke down alleged connections, showing old photos of Drake with executives who now seemed suspicious. The betrayal runs deeper than anyone thought, one commentator said. Drake, meanwhile, spiraled further into isolation. Insiders revealed he refused to enter his studio, ignoring music entirely. He doesn't trust anyone, a source confessed. He thinks the industry is against him. He won't even let his closest friends visit without heavy security checks. The emotional toll grew unbearable. Those close to Drake described him as paranoid, pacing his mansion late at night, replaying Suge Knight's words in his head. "He keeps saying I was played by my own," one insider said. "He can't let it go." Then, in a move that shocked everyone, Tupac's sister Yaki Kadofi stepped forward. She gave a rare interview blasting Drake for ever claiming, "Pac's chain in the first place. My brother's legacy is not for sale. It doesn't belong to Drake or to jewelers or to any label execs. It belongs to his family and to the people. Drake shouldn't have touched it without us." Her words hit Drake harder than anything else. This wasn't just betrayal by friends. This was rejection by the family of the man he had tried to honor. Fans erupted in debate again. Some said Tupac's family had every right to be angry. Others defended Drake, arguing he had only wanted to pay respect. But one thing became clear. Drake was now being painted as both a victim and a villain, trapped between betrayal and accusation. And just when the tension reached unbearable heights, Suge unleashed his final blow. In a dramatic new call from prison, Suge declared, "Drake's chain ain't the only fake thing. His whole kingdom built on fakes. Fake love, fake loyalty, fake legacy. I said he got played, but maybe he's been playing himself all along." The words spread like wildfire. Headlines screamed that Suge Knight had destroyed Drake's image with one statement. Fans began to wonder if Drake could ever recover. "This ain't just about a chain anymore," one fan posted. "This is about Drake's entire empire crumbling in front of our eyes." The fallout was brutal. Brands reportedly considered pausing endorsements, worried about the negative press. Collaborators hesitated to release songs with Drake, fearing the backlash. Even some of Drake's closest allies were rumored to be distancing themselves quietly. Yet, amidst the chaos, one surprising figure came to Drake's defense, Nicki Minaj. During a live session, she told fans, "Drake might have been played, but don't get it twisted. He's still that guy. They can't take his crown over a chain." Her words gave Drake a glimmer of hope, but the storm around him remained fierce. Rumors swirled that Drake was preparing to confront Suge Knight publicly, perhaps even release a song addressing the scandal. Fans speculated endlessly, waiting for Drake's next move. But insiders said Drake was still torn, unsure whether to fight back or let the storm pass. He knows one wrong word could destroy him. A source admitted as the dust settled, one haunting question remained. Who truly betrayed Drake? Was it a shady jeweler chasing a quick payday? Was it someone in his circle jealous of his success? Or was it the industry itself conspiring to humble a man who had climbed too high? No one had the answers. But one thing was certain, Drake's image would never be the same. The man who once seemed untouchable had been brought to his knees. Not by a rival's diss track, not by a chart flop, but by a chain that wasn't what it seemed. And the most chilling part? Suge Knight's words still echoed in every corner of the industry. He got played. So here we are, standing at the end of a storm that no one saw coming. Drake, the sixth god himself, dragged through the mud over a chain that was supposed to honor a legend, but instead turned into the biggest humiliation of his career. Suge Knight's words, sharp and cold from behind prison walls, still echo across the industry. He got played. And whether you believe Drake was a victim of betrayal or whether you think he played himself by chasing clout, one thing is undeniable, the hip-hop world will never look at him the same way again. Friends turned to suspects, allies became enemies, and even Tupac's family stepped in to remind the world that legacy cannot be bought. The question now is simple but haunting. Can Drake recover from this? Will he fight back, drop music that silences the critics, or will this scandal forever stain his reputation? Fans are divided, emotions are high, and the answers remain hidden in the shadows of betrayal. But one thing is certain, the story is far from over. Because if Suge Knight is right, then this fake chain is just the tip of the iceberg. What else is waiting to come out? Who else will step forward with more secrets, more accusations, more truth bombs? Now we want to hear from you. Do you think Drake was betrayed by his own circle, or was he simply too blinded by ego to see the truth? Is this a conspiracy to take him down, or is Suge Knight just stirring the pot for attention? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss the next chapter in this wild hip-hop drama. Trust us, you won't want to miss what comes next.